Hi. My name is Kaishu Notori, but you can call me Kaishu. Today I will show you how to make your Live2D art go live with Live2D. In this tutorial, I don't show you how to make Live2D art and separate the layers, but I will do a video soon enough to show you how it's done. I will also try to make this video in French for those French guys. So yeah, I'm here to make some French content too. And I will provide a server Discord if any of you have questions. And let's make the introduction short and let's begin with the Live2D. First, I will introduce you with the interface and the overall tools of Live2D. So right now, I'm going to show you the interface. So the first interface is the path interface. It will show you how you distributed your folders and the layers, like the Photoshop files that you made. So you will find everything in order. The second interface is a deformer interface. It's where we are going to create bar deformers, rotation deformers, and clean the layers, place them in the right place to make your Live2D experience way easier. The third interface is the tool details. The tool details just works with a brush selection tool and also of those tools like edit tool, etc. It really permits to change a tool parameter, and it's really useful, for example, when you have to edit something like your mesh. Then we have the inspector interface. The inspector interface will show you the details of your warp deformer and rotation deformer. And you will also see the inspector for the layers. It will be really needed when you need like something to be in another order, or if you need something to be clipped with something else. So yeah, it's really useful. And then then we have the parameter interface. It's where you will create parameters that will make you move the model, and it's the most important part for me. So I will explain it in details with the video. Then the sixth interface is where your model will be shown. It's a window where you can now now we are going to talk about the tools. So the first tool I want to talk about is the automatic mesh generator. It will be useful when you have all the layers, like all of it in the debut, and you will select it all. For example, it's what I do, and just choose an automatic mesh generator. So you can choose standard, you can choose the deformation a bit and the deformation a lot. What I do is a combination of standard and deformation a lot with Mesh Edit. Mesh Edit is the second tool. It will be the edit mesh, but manually. You can with it do the mesh by yourself. It have also some help in it, so it's really interesting to use it, and I will use it in the video. Then you have the Edit Texture Atlas. You can do it in the debut or in the last step of your adventure in Live2D. So it's only to have everything in order, and so that it can generate a texture atlas at the end. You are obligated to use this tool, so we are going to see this tool. Then the fourth one is the warp deformer. It will create like a folder in the deformer tab, and it will be really useful to just make it change forms, like you change the form of the layer in the warp deformer. The fifth tool is the rotation deformer. It will only rotate the layers that you made in it. Then the rotation deformer creation tool is just creating a lot of little rotation deformer for one piece. It will be useful for skinning, and yeah, I only use it for skinning, so yeah. Then we have the arrow tool, which is used to move everything, to just like move the things around. And it's a arrow tool, it's kind of normally. You can ask me a question if you don't understand the arrow tool. The lasso tool will be when you have the mesh deformer, when you have a layer with a mesh, you use the lasso tool to select a part of the mesh, of the layer, and it will move only the little dots that the mesh generator have from the lassos that you selected. I'm sorry if it's not really clear for you, but you can still ask me questions, as I said, in the end, in the commentary, everywhere. Then we have the brush selection tool. This is a tool that I really love because I use it for example, to move the eye, and it's going to do a simple thing. It's like a lasso tool, but with a brush. So you don't have to lasso all the thing out, you just have to do the brush. And in reality, it's kind of both a lasso tool but easier. But it's not as precise as the lasso tool. Then we have the little brush, the path edit, sorry. This path edit is to create a path in the layers, to create movement with it. You have to use it a lot in Live2D. So we are of course going to see it. Like you use it for doing the eyes, you use it to do the mouth. I use it a lot. So we're gonna see it and you will understand better. Then we have the deformer brush tool. It's approximately like the brush selection tool, but for the deform path edit. Then we have the glue tool that I don't really use much because it's kind of difficult to understand it. And after that, there is the arts path tool that I don't really use much too. So this is all the tools that we have. So first thing first, in the debut of the video, I'm just dragging the Photoshop file in the Live2D. So it just loads like that. And after that, I am beginning to do the warp deformer. So first I do the mesh generator in standard. Then I go to verify if everything is okay. And then I am going to create the different warp deformer. I don't really use a lot of rotation deformer because I find it way more difficult. And yes, I'm creating warp deformer for the whole body. Then I just go more and more precise. I do the head, for example. Then after that I do the body, and in the body I will separate the hands. Then I will separate with a warp deformer the bottom of like the legs and those kind of things. And then I will create in the head, for example, a warp deformer for the eyes, a warp deformer for the nose, a warp deformer for the mouth. and etc etc until I get something that is really concise in some way. So yes, this takes quite some time. It takes me 30 minutes to 15 to 30 minutes, yes, to do it. So yeah, I'm just doing that right now, and I'm going to continue after that. So for the expressions, we are going to hide them first because we don't want it to be too busy, and we are first concentrating in little details like the eyes. So what I do is create a new parameter for each expression that I have, and I'm just going to hide the deformers or the layers in the parameter. So I just have to create a parameter, a new parameter, then take the names that I want, take the IDs that I want, that will be with a name that is quite intelligent to save you time. And you just have to do the minimum at 0, the maximum at 1, and the default at 0. Then I take the layers or the warp deformers that I created for them, and I just go to 0 and make the opacity go to 0. So it will hide like that. Also, do not forget to take, when you have the deformer or the layer selected, don't forget to first take 2 little keyforms that are shown in the parameter interface, the little 2 keyforms that are the second one in the little bar, and it will create 2 little keyforms, and the first keyform is in 0, so go to opacity and make it go to 0, and let it be 100 for the 1. Like that, it will disappear when it's in default, but appear, and it will appear when it's in 1, and it will be really useful at the end when you are going to be doing the expressions. After that, as you can see, I'm beginning to do the eyes. So right now I just got to the mesh edit manually so that I could take around the eye way more easier, because it was a mess before, because the mesh generator is not a miracle. You still have to work sometimes your edits, your mesh, so it's logical and you can move it way better. So right now, as you can see, I'm fixing the little things, the little mesh, and now I'm just moving it with the I create the art path so it can be easier to move it. I'm real sorry. How is it called? The path edit, the deform path edit. I use the deform path edit. So yes, in the top, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a 10th tool, just up, and you just create. You just have to point one of each, like in the layer, and it will create like a path that you can take and just move it around. It will move the pixels, it will move the little mesh around it, and it will create a really nice and clean form for the eye, for example, right there. Then I'm moving all the things, like I'm moving right now I'm doing the eye close. As you can see, for the eye close, for example, we only have the parameter go to 0 to 1. 1 is when the eye is open, and 0 when the eye is closed. So right now I'm doing like two parameters for two keyforms, sorry, for the parameter for each thing that I want to move. So yes, you can see right now that I'm moving things around to see if it matches well, and then I just do the rest of the eye like that with deformer path. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the name. With the path edit, the deform path edit, and it's really useful. You have to know how to use a path edit. And sometimes I have to use the how is it called? I have sometimes to use the warp deformer, sorry, to move some of the thing around. For example, the bottom lashes, I need the cry to be connected to it, so I prefer to use a warp deformer to move it so it can move with the tears. After doing the eye open, I do the eye smile. The eye smile is something that is related with the eye open. So you have to match the layers and warp deformers that you used for the eye open, for the eye that is smiling. So right now you have the parameters with keyforms. You have to go to the parameter minus in the 0 parameter, then go to smile and go search your top lash and just create the two keyforms in the parameter for the eye smile, and then you will go to 1. So when it's when the eye will smile when it's closed. So like that, you have just to move the curve of the top lashes, like go down, up, down. Because when your eye is normal, you close it in some way, like you close it in a curve that is up, down, up. But when you smile, when you close your eyes, when you smile, you tend to have a more happy face, and your eyes, when it's closed, tend to be more up curve, so down, up, down. So what I do for that is to just, as I said, go to the parameter of the eye open, go to 0, and then create keyforms for the eye smile, go to 1, and then change it. So it will be your eye smile. You can also ask me questions, of course. I totally understand if you don't understand it. Also, one thing to note is that it's very prohibited to be really careful when you use layers multiple times. You don't want a layer to be used more than 3 times, or a warp deformer used more than 3 times. Why? It's because the more you have a layer done in every way, the more it will be a mess. So be careful with that, and try to follow the rule. Only use 2 times, and in the worst case, use 3 times a layer or a warp deformer. But I must say to you, create as many warp deformers as you can, so like that you won't have a problem. So right now I'm doing the eyes, eyeball X. So I just make them go look to the right and the left. One thing to note is that right and left is inversed. So if your eye is, as you see it, is in the left, you will have to do the eye right to move it. But the strange thing is that you can still make the thing work if it's not in the eye, like, or the brows. It's like only the brows and the eyes tend to follow this rule to, so yeah, it's kind of strange. But if the eye left, when you use eye left by how you see it, so as your arm is like in the left, the eye is in the left, you will have to rig it for the eye right, with the eye right in the parameters that are already in. It's a strange rule, I know, but it's really useful to know that. So right now I'm going to show you how to copy and paste the eye so you have less work to do. So right now you have to select all the layers and deformers of your eye that you already done. Then you just have to copy and paste it in the deformer interface. By doing that, you create another eye, of course. Then you will just have to click right, yes, in the eye. Then go to reflect, which is the bottom, in the really bottom of when you click on the right. And then you will have another eye that is normally in the other place, but sometimes it can be kind of messy, so you just have to rearrange that, so it's okay. I also say to you, just say to you that if you already have done the eyeball X and eyeball Y, when you have to check for the reflect, you will have a little window that opens. Go to the window and go to eyeball X and click on it, select it, because like that it will have your eye will be looking at the right direction when you are doing the eye. You also have to delete the eye that was there before, of course. So just like cut. I use Control X to cut the other eye. Like, you select all the things, and then you just Control X. By doing that, it will delete everything in one moment, in one time, because when you try and do it with the right click of your mouse, it will only delete one. It's a strange thing, but it's what you have to know. Prefer doing Control X if you have to delete multiple things. Now, as you can see, I'm doing the eyebrows. So as you can see, I kind of liked the mesh that I had, but I wanted it to be less. So you can access to the edit in the top of the bar, or you can directly have it with just click on the layer and just Control E, and like that you will have the you will be on the I'm really sorry if I bug a lot. You will be on the tools to select and reduce. You will have in the tool details all the little arrow, and you can deform the mesh. I'm so really sorry for bugging so much. So yeah, the eyebrows is really simple because you only have to do 3 things: the Y of the brow, the form, and the angle. The Y will be up and down. The angle is when you will be on one the angle will be a little bit on the, you will have to angle it up. When it's in -1, you will have to angle it down. And when it's in fuzzy form, it's just gonna be like the one form is like a surprise expression, a surprise eyebrow. So you just have to go and put all your little pieces of mesh to go up. You can do it with the art path. And then for the -1 of the oh my god, sorry, of the -1 of the form will be when you are angry or sad. You tend to shrink the tip of your eyebrows. So yeah, it will be like that. Then we are going to do the mouth. For the mouth, I totally just erase all the mesh that was before, because the mouth is kind of more difficult than the things before. So you have to be careful and just create a new art path so it will be easier to have. So for the mouth, it will be the most difficult for me, because you have to combine a lot in mouth form and mouth open. The mouth form is primarily, you just have to, when it's in -1, it will shrink. You will be unhappy, for example. When it's on 0, the mouth form will be neutral, and when you are in 1, the mouth form will be happy, in those kind of things. Then for the mouth open, it's quite clear. The mouth open in 0 is when it's closed, and in 1 it will when it be open. I will provide you a chart to follow, and it's really useful because it's from Kimori, another VTuber, and I really recommend her videos, but it's kind of sometimes not clear. I didn't really learn how to read with her videos. I really learned by watching people make Live2D. So this is why I'm doing this. A total speed of one of my rig. So as you can see, you have normally three deformers for the mouth form, where you will use the mouth up and mouth down. You will shrink it and make it happy too. Then the mouth open, you will have to go to each and every little points on the of the mouth form and try to open it and close it as you want. Then after having done the 0, 1, I tend to create another keyform in the middle to make it more beautiful in some way, make it more clean and everything. Then I am going to move the head. So right now, as you can see, I just change the mesh directly, because I don't really need all the things that are in the middle of the head. I only need the outlines. So I just do that, and then I begin to move the head in the x-axis. So I do 3 keyforms, and I move individually every little eyelashes. I don't know. I how to say that. I move the eyes, then the eyebrows. You can also make it easier on yourself and just go and take all of the eyebrows, eye, nose and mouth, create a new parameter for all of them, create a new warp deformer for all of them, and move it around with them. As you can see, there was also a blush, and because I wanted it to follow the head, I took it and just got it out, those kind of things. And this is where the clipping ID goes into place. You just have to take the ID of the things that it will be. For example, for the head, if I want the blush to be only on the head, I take the ID of the head, go then to the little blush, for example, and then I go to clipping ID, copy and paste it in the clipping ID and just go enter, and you will have the blush that will be only on the face and not visible in the out of the face. So it's really useful. It's like a clipping thing, like in the software that we use to draw. I continue by doing the angle Y, and with the angle Y you will just have to do the up and down. So yeah, you just have to feel it and just see whatever you want for when you are up and down. I will also provide some charts to help you with that, because I use a lot of things like that, so it will be easier also for you. After doing the angle X and Y, I synthesize corners them. So for finding the synthesized corner, just go to, it's in the parameter, the three little lines in the bar, and you just go to those bar, you select the two parameters that are joined, and then you just go and synthesize corner it. It will be quite a mess most often, but it's still a really good help, for example, for the head and all those kind of things. Also, quick tip: when you want to select more than one parameter, like if you have a ton of layers and warp deformer to select, just click on the layer at the bottom that you want, then go to Shift and click to the last button that you want, like Shift click left, and it will select the thing that is the wall thing that is between those layers, or warp deformer, yes, that you selected, and it will like select it all. It's also a quick tip to know. Then the angle Z will be the rotation of the head. So you just have to move the head to do a rotation of the head to the right and rotation to the head to the left with the angle Z, that is 1 will be to the right and -1 will be to the left, and it's all good. I also tend to use a warp deformer for it, so I just take all the things that I've moved and just combine it to create a new mesh, a new warp deformer, and then I do the rotation of the head. I also, with the rotation of the head, you will have to move also a lot of the hair, so be careful with that. Just make it move like you want to feel it, and when you like it. Another quick tip is to use, when you are in the parameter interface, it's sometimes kind of tricky when you have to take the key. So you just have to right click on one key, and it will directly go to the key that you just clicked on, and it's really useful to know that. Also, one thing, if you just like click on the play, so right now I'm doing the body. So the body X is like you like you've done with the head in some ways. You just have to take the model, shrink it to the right, shrinking to the left. You can use also the reflect motion. The reflect motion is a tool that is also present in the three little bars in the parameter. You just have to select one layer and or multiple layers that you want. You go to the parameters that you want and just go to the one or the things that you want to reflect. So for example, if you have a freeform thing, you just have to go to the one, for example, if you only did the one, and just go to the three little bars, reflect motion, and then it will reflect directly in the other key. So it will be much easier for you, and it's saving a lot of time. Then we are going to see physics with the air. I didn't say it before because it was in the eyes and all those kind of things. But right now we're going to really focus on the physics for the air. So as you can see, I create a lot of parameters for the air, and I move it to the right, left, and then also to the Y angle, Y and left, Y up, Y down, and then just do it like that so it can move quite smoothly. And I just also do the synthesize corner. As you remember, the synthesize corner is in the three little bars with the synthesize corner, and also the parameters will have to be joined in to do that. So yeah, there is multiple techniques to do the air. You have the art path to use it, so you can use do it manually, or you can try to do the skinning. The skinning will be done with the little rotations that you've seen. I didn't do it there, but you can still try and use the skinning if you want to search it in internet, in the web, sorry. Then I do the physics, and as you can see, to create a physic, it's really simple. Go to you can see there's multiple layers. To create a new physic, you just have to go to the top, where you have a little scroll down thing. Then you have I'm sorry, just gonna you go to just for so for the physics, you will have to go to the up bar, so with the file, edit, show modeling, etc, etc. You just have to go to modeling, go down and go to open physics, send blending settings. As you can see, you will have a little windows that will appear. I will only explain you the physics. So you have the group, which will be the physics that you have done. Then you have a little valid button that can that you can uncheck to don't have again this the physics. Then you have a little add button, and it will be there that we're going to add something. So click on the add, then create a name that is unique and that is quite evident. For example, there it was air, so just name it air. Then you go to input presets. They will show you 3 input presets: head, body, and bust. Bust is most often used for the boobs. The body input is most often used for the other thing in the body. And the head input will be used for all the things that are connected to the head. For example, the air right now. So you just have to go and name it. Then you just, after that, you select input preset or physics model presets, but it can depend. For example, for the eye, I don't recommend to take an input preset because you will delete it anyway because you only work with the eye. So after that, you will have input preset. You can add an input preset in the little how it's called interface. You have input type, effectiveness, and reflect. One rule is that if you have you have 2 options: position X and angle. Position X and angle have effectiveness that is up to 100%. You can go up. So if you have, for example, a second input, you can't go to position X if it's already at 100 in one other. I will explain it later, and if you have questions, of course, like, contact me, go to the comments and just say it to me and I will just clarify it. So to add an input, just go to the interface of the input, just go up, and you will have also a add, delete, up, down. Go to add. You choose the one thing that you want to control the things that you want to move. So for example, if you want the eyelashes to move, you have the parameter of the eyelashes that moves. Then you just have to go to the eye right open, for example, and then you click OK in the add. Then you go to the physics model settings and you add 1 pendulum in the pendulum settings with the add, delete, up, down things that is here. You just have to go and add 1, and then in the output you just have to go to the up of the interface. Then you will have just under group something called input settings that you have normally added directly, and then you will have also output settings. Go to output settings and just add the things that you want to move. For example, right there, as I took as an example for the eyelash, you have eye left open or eye right open in the input, and in the output you're gonna add the parameter where you moved the eyelash. So you just have to add the parameter and then it will move normally. And then you will have to play with the effectiveness, reflect, scale, output, max, and then also play with the little pendulum, and it will be all good. After that, I continue with all the expression, etc. I do all the physics, for example, for the bow, bow, sorry, for the arms, for the sleeve of the arms. I do also the little low just around the head. That wheel is moving with the breath. So there you just have to go to input settings, add breath, select position X or angle, and just in the output you make the things that you want the breath to move with, and then you play with the pendulum to make it work. After that, I also did a little animation. So for doing that, you just have to go to File, create an animation. Then you just have to import your little model that is in the interface. So just wait, I'm just going to, okay, you go to New, Animation, choose SDK Unity, then go to Project, you can see your model, and then Untitled Animation. Take your model and just drag it into the scene. By dragging it into the scene, it will drag it into the little graph editor, sorry. So you can see all the things like the number, etc. It's where you have to put it. Because if you put it in the interface, it won't work. If you put it anywhere else, it won't work. You just have to drag it and drop it in the thing that is called just the little interface to do the animation just below the graph editor. By doing that, you are beginning an animation of your model. So by that, you can change, like you will just have parameters, and with the parameters you are going to make your model move. I'm going to do another video of all the little details, I think, and I will explain it in a really detailed way, because I want this video to be an overall thing. So yes, you can just try and play with the animation. I'm going to do a video to explain it a bit more. But it's gonna be after that, when you are finished with the animation, you can just go to File, export for runtime, and export motion file. And then you will have a motion file that will do the little animation for in the VTube Studio, for example. After doing all of this, when your model is finished, you just have to export it for runtime, and don't forget to click on go to a File, export for runtime, export as mock free file, and when it's if you have an error dialog box who says invoked after texture atlas is generated, you have to create a texture atlas. But if you already have done that, go to export mock3 file, select the physics, because you have to select select it to make the physics works. And then you have your mock3 file. You can go and make it in VTube Studio if you want to, but I'm going to show you how to do some expressions. For the expressions, we are going to use the little new the Live2D, not editor, but window. And you will just have to go to the file, go to add, and then you will have a little pop-up that says what is the name of the thing that you want to create. Then create the expression, like give it a name, and then you just have to select the expressions that you made. So for example, you go to there, I had glasses. I just did the 0, 1 glasses. So if I want the glasses to appear, I just click on the little box of glasses, and then I make it show. So I make it to 0 to 100. After doing that, you just have to save it. So replace your model and also create all the little expressions. Then you have to go to, now we can go to VTube Studio. In VTube Studio, you just have to upload your little new baby in some way, and just drag the folder of where your model is, and just drop it in VTube Studio where is open folder, the window that when you clicked on the open folder was shown. Just drag and drop it. Then you just have the model that is appearing. If it's not appearing, I just go to the little man, import your model again, click on OK, and normally it will appear. Then when it's appeared, you just have to select if you are in Windows or Android, if I remember well, in Windows or iPhone, or if you are in Android. I select Windows and iPhone because I'm in Windows, and yes, try to select the right thing for you. Then you just have to go to the little setting thing, go to camera, go to the little icon camera, and then just choose your camera, and just also choose the level, and if you want only face tracking or the two tracking or the hands and etc. Then go to camera on, and then the matching is appeared, and normally your Live2D is working.